Somehow I've become a Yamaha technician overnight. Welcome back to the shop, guys. And if you've been following me for a little bit, you'll notice that the last two videos I put out were about Yamaha products. The first one, like 2 weeks ago, would have been a 2005 V-Star 1100 that wouldn't run because the carburetor was all plugged up. And then last week, I did a valve adjustment on my 1987 Big Bear that's been home to our family ever since it was purchased. So that's pretty cool. If you guys want to see those videos, they'll be in the description box. But then this week, this is what I have. So I have my very own 1999 Yamaha Venture 700 Triple, as well as my father-in-law's 700 Rhino, which this is a 2010 or 2011, pretty close. And they both have very, very similar issues. This one here, I got no spark. This one here doesn't seem to be charging. So we're going to be diagnosing, well, at least my Yamaha Venture, because, well, I mean, it's mid-December, and I really hope to go take a ride once we get enough snow to do that. So let's dive right in. So let's start with the simplest thing that could be causing the issue. And of course, it would be the spark plugs. I mean, if you have any issues with spark, I would recommend doing that right off the bat, starting with the spark plugs. So I have over the years labeled these, so I know PTO side is 1, 2, and 3. Whether that is correctly labeled, I'm not sure. Maybe Yamaha calls this one number 1, but for my purposes, so that when I put these back together, they're okay, because I've also marked the coils. So let's take out the spark plugs, and we're going to eliminate that by using a spark tester. Now with the spark plug tester connected, what I'm going to do here, we have it grounded to a good source. I'm just going to turn the key over, and I'm going to do short little bursts and looking right in here in the glass to see if there's any kind of spark. So I got nothing on number 1. We're going to keep doing this all the way across to make sure that it's not just a, I'll talk about that in a second. Could be just a cap, right? But let's eliminate that by going through all 3. Still no spark there. And of course, I'm making sure that on the handlebar, my kill switch is up, because that would be silly, right? So here we go. Still no spark. All right. So we're going to move on to the next thing that I like to check. And like I just mentioned, it could be the caps themselves. And I have an easy way of testing that. I'll show you. I've removed all 3 spark plug caps, as you can tell here. And there's a couple of ways you can test these. You can use an ohm meter or multimeter. You go from here to inside there, and you're going to read resistance. I believe on these ones it's about 5,000 ohms because they're resistor caps. Or you can also do a quick check like I'm going to do here. And I want you to be very careful, because you could get electrocuted or electrified like I did on the Yamaha V-Star. I'm going to bring this high tension lead close to a ground, and if we have spark and we know that our whole ignition system is good, we're going to see the gap here with that little blue flame. So let's try that. And we got nothing on this one. Still nothing on that one. I'm starting to get worried now. So we've eliminated all 3 caps. So we know that it's not the caps. Now it could be the coils. So what I'm doing is, if you notice, I'm kind of working my way backwards through the electrical system to make sure that we're not eliminating or missing anything. So the next thing to do would be to check the actual coils here. And what I'm going to do is remove the wires, or sorry, unplug one of the coils, and then I'm going to go find the resistance that Yamaha specs for these particular coils, and then we'll test them. Our multimeter is ready, and I have the specs from Yamaha as to what these coils need for resistance. There's actually 2 specs, but I'm going to be concentrating mostly on the primary coil and not so much the secondary coil. So what I've done as well here, in the past I've had to take this whole engine out because I had to do a top end on it, and when I did that, you'll notice that I've got colored tie wraps on either side of some of the connectors, because if you see this one, we've got an orange wire going to a what is this, black white, and that would be kind of, you know, confusing if you don't know what the wiring diagram is, if you don't have it in front of you. So the way I do it is I've got two colored tie wraps the same color on either side of the connector, and I've done that through all of these because these are connected, I believe, in the parallel. I'd have to look at the schematic really quickly, but it doesn't matter for this instance. So I'm going to take these two wires that are going from coil number 1, take that apart, and I know that these can go wrong because they have a male and a female connector, but I still see I got a green and a white, and what I'm looking for is 0.4 ohms plus or minus 20. So I'm going to put my meter is set for ohms right now, and here we go. What are we reading? 0.5, 0.4. So this coil is good, and I'm going to do this to all 3 coils. All 3 coils have passed, and I would say fortunately, but I find it unfortunate because there's not too many other items that are easy to replace or easy access on this electrical system when it comes to the ignition system. So I'm actually kind of nervous now as to what it could be. There's only 2 items left. I'm eliminating right off the bat the key switch, because if the key switch was bad, in my opinion, it wouldn't even turn over. Nothing would happen like that. You can test that, of course, but we're going to test the kill switch. Cross our fingers that that's the issue, because that's like a $20 item, and it's easy to replace. It's right on the handlebar. Otherwise, we have to tear into the engine and replace possibly a stator. Let's hope it's not that. Let's remove the handlebar pad, which has just got a couple of zippers on either side, and see. Oh, look at a nice mess of wires we have in here. And again, you can see it. I've been in here because I've got all these nice colored tie wraps. I've owned this machine for probably 5 or 6 years now, and it's been great, honestly, up until this point. I purchased it with a semi-blown engine, and it's been repaired, and also a heat exchanger in the front that I had to repair. But anyways, back to the subject here of what we need to do, and we're going to check the kill switch. So the kill switch should be this guy right here. So we're going to pull this out, and we're going to just look for some resistance. So in this connector, again, all machines are a little bit different, but in this particular one, we're looking for black and black white. And what I'm going to do is I have my meter set for the tone, where it's going to beep like this here. Notice that though, guys? Listen to this. I touched the 2 leads together, and I have like that 2-second delay. I've had this multimeter forever. It's been great, but this has always been there, and it's been driving me nuts. I actually might upgrade to a different multimeter. If you guys know of a really good multimeter for a decent price, maybe add that in the comment section and let me know what you're using. This I've had forever. This is a Radio Shack meter. It's actually really good. I specifically like the corner here where it actually remembers the last reading that you've used, so it's kind of a cool reference. But this here, that's just, it makes it difficult testing certain things. So anyways, we're looking for black and black white. So we're going to put that in here. Now I have this switch pulled. We have nothing. I'm going to push it down, and it should close. So we now know our switch is not the problem. Darn it. Now we move on to the stator, and it's not looking good. I'm going to say that it's probably the issue because, like I said, I'm eliminating the switch. I should test it, but I have full confidence that the ignition switch is not the problem. Because everything else is working. If I leave the key to on, so on these machines, if you leave the key to on and you have your you have a battery and you have your hand warmers on, it will actually start to warm up the handle warmers with the battery. So don't leave your key on, because you will kill the battery, I mean. And if you're thinking, well, this is deja vu, Rick, because you've done this before. You'd be right. On an identical machine, however, a couple years newer. So if you remember a bunch of years back, I was working on Peter's machine. He has a 700 Venture as well, but it's a 2002. And in that video, the problem for his spark issue was actually a really simple fix. And I'm hoping we're going to see this here. It's the wires, the 3 white wires that come from the stator. And that was the problem. They were corroded. We gave it a good clean, put some dielectric grease in between, and it ran great after that. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because this is a 99, and the electrical system, for the ignition part anyways, is different. So I thought it'd be interesting to show you the differences. If you want to see the differences, you want to go back and refer to that old video, that'll be also in the description box as well. I'm going to have a lot of things in the description box. But so let's move on to how to test this particular stator, because it's actually quite different. The wires we're going to be testing are right here. So there's 2 plugs, and there's, I believe, 6 wires in total that we'll be testing. Now on the 2002, so this particular ignition system runs from 97 to 2001, at least for the 700. Now on this particular one, we're going to be looking at these ones, and I'm going to take a look inside and shine a light down there, look for some corrosion, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be lucky like we were last time. And no, this one is actually really nice because this is a sealed connector. On the newer models, they don't have a sealed connector. I don't know why they did that. So, I'm looking for the bottom here. Where is it? And I'm going to look inside. Guys, I'm sorry if you can't quite see what I'm doing because I have my camera set up in the weirdest angle right now because it's such a tight spot to get in there. And then we're going to undo this one as well. Both connectors are undone. Now this is I'm going to call this the chassis side, and this would be the connectors going into the stator that we're going to be testing. They're quite far down in there, so you might not be able to see what I'm doing all the time. But what I have done, if I zoom out a little bit here, is I've written it down on my whiteboard so that I can follow along pretty easily. So we're going to start from the top. So we've got the alternator, yellow to white. We're looking for 0.4 ohms there. The pickup, this would probably be the culprit if there was anything. And we're looking for 225. Source 1, 124. And then source 2, 443. This was the coil that we tested earlier, right up here. So yeah, and these, by the way, are plus or minus 20%. And you should be testing them, according to Yamaha, at about 20 degrees Celsius. So I'm sitting around, I don't know, 15 or 16 in my shop here, so it's a little bit cooler, and it could affect some of the resistances, but they should be pretty close. So let's zoom back in and see what we got. First one will be yellow to white, and I believe that one is on this bigger connector. We are now on the white and yellow. Now there is a trick that you might see here, if I can, I'm not sure if you guys see this, but I use a small piece of mechanics wire into these terminals because these are smaller. But keep in mind, this can change the resistance value, right? Because you're using a piece of metal. So I have my meter set to where it needs to be. So let's see what the resistance is. We're supposed to be looking for 0.4 of an ohm. And what do we have? 1. Okay, let's see if we can get a better connection here. .9, 0.8. So again, that could be a little high because I am a little bit in a cooler climate than what they say. It's almost within specs. I'm okay with that. So let's move on to the pickup, which will be white to white red. So we're already on we're already on white. I'm trying to be funny here, but this is no laughing matter because if I have to change the stator, this is gonna suck. So here we go. We are the one right next to the white is the white red, and we're looking for 225 ohms. I'm gonna go up one scale because like I was saying earlier, this multimeter is getting older, and it's not automatic, so should have, I'm at the 2K scale, so I should have like 0.2 or something like that. And we are connected here. What if I go back here? Might say it's, no way. Come on, guys. Don't tell me. Oh, it's dead. There's nothing. Oh, come on. Okay. So the pickup is getting absolutely nothing. No, that's not good. Really not good. Well, let's move on. There's only two more to check. And source one is black to black. Sorry, it's black to brown red, and that's 124 ohms. Hopefully I'm not getting my shoulder and my hands in place here. So which one is that? So black. So this is the black over here on this connector. I think we're going to two connectors. So that's the black. If I take my little mechanics wire, go to brown red. Brown red. Yeah, it is the other connector. The little white connector right there. And what did I say? 124 ohms. Go back down to this scale. And what do we have? That one's a little low. But we're reading something. 100 ohms, give or take. Oh, it's jumping. Why? Why? Okay, so about 100 ohms. Yeah, 98. Yeah, it's jumping. That's weird. So that doesn't seem good at all either. So source one seems to be low. Now the pickup is bad. Source two is brown to black red. So where do we have brown? Okay, that's on this little guy. So brown to black red. And that we are looking for 443 ohms. You almost need 3 hands to do this, guys. It's really not easy, but you'll get there. So because I'm on the 2K, 443, or sorry, 0.43 is actually quite accurate, what we're looking for. So okay, that's good. So I'm going to go back to the pickup here. So white to white red. Maybe I didn't put the wire into the connector properly. Maybe that's why it's dead. So white red is the one next to it. Maybe that's all it was. I know it's in there now. And we were looking for 225. So it should be like 0.225. No way, nothing. Come on. Well, I guess that's what the problem is. Stator's bad. One thing I did leave out of this whole testing procedure is what's called the TORS or TORS. I'm not exactly sure what that acronym stands for. Something along the throttle response override system, something like that. So if in the event your throttles get stuck, there's a switch inside the handlebar here that will cut spark, so it will not engage the clutch. It kind of stops at about 15 to 1600 RPM. I have bypassed mine, so I know that's not an issue. I don't recommend that, by the way. It's a safety item. Don't ever bypass anything. I did on mine, so I know it's not a problem, but that's something you guys should check if you have an ignition system failure, is to check the switch down in here, and there's also one down below the carburetor. But the stator's bad. I can't be somewhat happier because now at least I know what the issue is. But if you've ever had to replace a stator on one of these machines, It's not fun. So we're going to be doing that. What we're going to have to do is remove the exhaust. There's a little member, like a frame member, that has to come apart. You're going to need a puller to get to that. I think that's going to be in a different video because I think this video is already long enough. So anyways, that's how you test the stator on a 1999 Yamaha. But what if I need... No, there can't be. This is a charging system on this thing. That's the issue here. That's got to be just a fuse. So let's quickly just see what it needs. So I rarely diagnose two machines in one video, but they're very similar problems. So I figured, well, why not? I mean, it might be a longer video, but it could also be interesting. So this is a charging problem on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check all these fuses to make sure that none of these are bad. All the fuses here are good. Now let's look at the main fuse. This would be our main fuse, our big 40 ampere. Ooh, where are you going? And let's check to see if this is good. Yes, it is. Okay. Now again, we're getting somewhere. These are a little bit more easy to diagnose than, let's say, a snowmobile with a ignition system, or a failing ignition system. That's probably my nemesis, is checking for spark. I don't like testing for that because there's so many variables, right? Long story short, on this machine, he was riding it. It was working just fine. It died. He had to pull it back to camp. He got the battery charged up. It died again while he was in the bush. Brought it home, he was using it at home, and it kept doing it. He bought a new battery, installed a new battery, and it's still doing it. So that's why I know that it's not charging. So let's move on to, well, let's move on to the stator, unfortunately. So for the charging, I've eliminated the fact that the voltage regulator is not working because I did check it at the battery and I get a voltage drop. Usually a voltage regulator, if it goes bad, will overcharge. It's not the case here. So we're going to move to the stator and see what we have. Again, it could be, look how crusty these connectors are. It could be that these are just, you know, not making contact inside. So we're going to be cleaning them up and just hope for the best here. But what I'm looking for, there's 3 white wires, just like most alternator systems. So we got these 2 here, and I think this is also, yeah, so this is a white wire. I don't know why they're not together in a, like say, like a 3-prong connector, but they're not. And then we've got this white to gray, so these 2 here, and this is the pickup, I believe, which probably would be okay because if it's the pickup is usually part of the ignition system. So we're going to clean these up. So for the white to white, very similar to the Venture that we were just testing, we're looking for 0.4 ohms. So hopefully you guys can, just so awkward working on these with a camera, but so we go 0.4 ohms. So we're going to check to see, might as well do this one first. And this one's, oh, no way. Do you guys see that? You guys, come on. Look how burnt up that is. No way. What's this look like? Oh, that's a problem. Are you kidding me? 2 stators? 2 stators. It's got to be bad. I mean, look how burnt that is. Can you guys see that? I got to zoom in on this. I mean, just look at how bad those 2 connectors are. They're completely roasted. Well, I mean, we're going to test them anyways. So let's do that. So we should be getting 0.4 between those 2 connectors. I highly doubt it. So hopefully you guys can see the meter. Not quite. Let me move it up. So it's in the frame. Here we go. And we have We have 0.4. Are you kidding? Either way, even if you're getting the resistance, that's not good. Let's move it to here, to the other white, and see what this is giving us. So we got one here, and then, well, this is going to be a little bit difficult to test, but let's hold all these three together. Again, like I was saying, it's nice to have three arms sometimes. So we got this one, and then this one. Yeah, okay. They're actually testing out okay. So there must have been something that happened here, like an over voltage, or like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. What happened here? Or just drawing way too much juice at once, trying to charge a dead battery perhaps, or I don't know. Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to change this. Either way, I'm gonna have to change the stator because something's wrong. There's not. Oh, look at this! It just pulls right out. Like, something's wrong here. It's melted. Melted even the rubber. Crazy. So let's check the pickup coil. And this should be 500 ohms according to the manual. And I'm gonna have to go up one scale. What do we have? We don't have anything? That's weird. 0.4. So that on a 2000 scale, that would be about 414 is what you see there. So it's low. That's quite low because it should be 500. Either way, that's crazy, guys. Two stators? Two stators at the same time in the same shop on the same brand. That's not something you see every day. So I'm gonna have to definitely get on ordering some stuff here. But yeah, when was the last time you saw something like this? I mean, comment down below if you have seen this, if you're working in a shop and you get a week where all you do is stators or all you do is batteries. It happens. But to me, this is pretty uncommon. So I'm gonna have to cut the video here. This will be probably a two-part video because what I'm gonna have to do now, once I get the parts, I'm gonna have to pick on one machine at a time, but I wanna show you guys how you replace these stators because they're both very different. One is in the engine, well, they're both inside the engine, but one is in oil, one is not. And again, guys, hope you liked the video. Hope you found it informative at the very least. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe if you consider doing so. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.